Hi there. It is currently 9 o'clock on Sunday the 19th of July. On Monday the 20th of July, the reading rush begins. I have made a very quick decision to join this year's reading rush, despite not knowing it was a thing until about a few hours ago. This is my TBR video because one of the little challenges that you do is if you have a YouTube channel, you do the challenges. So there are 7 days of the reading challenge, and I think you're supposed to read a book a day, but if you read less than that you can kind of like double up on the challenges and just get as many challenges done as you can. I had taken the week off work to study, but that's not happening anymore. So the first challenge is to read a book that matches the colour of your birthstone. I was born in March, so my birthstone is aquamarine. I've taken that to mean blue because I don't really have many aquamarine books, and if I do have any aquamarine books, I've actually already read them, so I don't really want to reread any books. So the first one I have is Casper, Prince of Cats. This is a middle grade book about Casper, who survived the Titanic, and then him and his owner go on all sorts of adventures around the world. It's a middle grade book, so it should be quite quick to get through. I think it will be a good one if I choose to use this one. Next one is Call Me By Your Name by Andre Ackerman. This is a romance between a boy and his father's student. There's a giant age gap. I don't like it, but I have tried to read this book before, and I don't really want to say that I really dislike this book without actually finishing it first, but I really dislike this book. I kind of feel like I have to finish it because so many people love it, and I just want to know why they love it. I mean, the peach scene, I haven't got to it in this bit, in what I've read about half of the book. I haven't got to it, but honestly the thought of that haunts me. I probably won't do it during this reading rush, but it is a blue book, so I thought I could if things really got desperate. The next one is The Sky Is Everywhere by Jandy Nelson. This is about a girl, a poet, who has just lost her sister, and this is her kind of learning to live without her sister. My favourite book is I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson, which is her second book. This is her debut novel. It's not too big and it is a YA book, so I feel like I might be able to get through it pretty quickly. I've also bought Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. That is about a girl who, her best friend ran away 2 years ago, and she is obsessed with this podcast called Universe City. The maker of the podcast emails her and says, would you mind being the artist for my podcast? And she's obviously like really excited about it, and it's just kind of what goes from there is the story. I've ordered that should be on its way. That is a blue cover. I might read that one because I have it in audiobook form, and I can normally get through audiobooks, especially a YA audiobook, really quickly. I also have Gemina, which is the second book in the Illuminae files. So this is blue. The Illuminae files, I don't really know much about it. I know it's in space. It's in space and there's like wars. Illuminae also possibly fits one of the later challenges. So what I might do is I might read Illuminae, and then once I've read Illuminae, I can move on to Gemina, and then that'll be 2 books that I've read that tick off 2 challenges. The next category is read a book that starts with the word the. I have a lot of books that start with the word the. So first I have The Princess Bride, which could also count for another category. So if things get desperate and I'm really lagging behind on how much I'm reading, I could just read The Princess Bride and tick 2 off with one thing. The Princess Bride is basically this fantastical story about pirates and princesses and things like that. So the next one is The Next Together, which is about 2 soulmates, and whenever they're reincarnated they find each other and, you know, live together, and then they die, and then they have to find each other again. So this is like a really interesting concept, and I've definitely seen fan fictions with this kind of concept that's really interesting. So this does seem really interesting. It's another YA, which I should maybe be able to get through pretty quickly. There's also The Essex Serpent, which has an amazing cover. I love the cover of this. In fact, I don't even know what it's about. Someone who is trying to discover a new species of snake in Essex. Yeah, I don't really know what it's about. I bought it purely because of the cover, which is just so beautiful. But it is an adult book, and I find them very kind of sluggish to get through. For me personally, I think it might not be my best idea. I also have The Dark Light by Julia Bell. This is about a cult, so that's always interesting. We love cults. No, we don't. We dislike cults, but they are interesting to read about. I have The Sun and Her Flowers, which by Ruby Kaur, which is a poetry book. It's the second one to Milk and Honey, which everyone knows. Everyone's seen the little pictures of it on, you know, quirky girls' Instagram pages. And we love it. We love making poetry accessible to the masses. So yeah, maybe I'll read this. I also have The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Adier. So this is about a boy king or a boy prince who takes a new bride every night and by morning has murdered her. When the main character's friend is murdered by this boy, she volunteers herself to be the next bride, and somehow she manages to stay alive, and then, you know, the rest of the book happens. I possibly might read that. It does seem interesting and like something I would want to read. I also bought the Falling in Love montage, and it is, all I know about it is there's lesbians, so that's all you need to know, isn't it? That's all you need to know. So the next category is read a book that inspired a movie that you've already seen. And I didn't think I'd have many of these, but I actually have quite a lot. So we've mentioned this one before, The Princess Bride by William Goldman. I have seen the movie. I do really enjoy the movie. I haven't read the book. In fact, the reason I bought the book was because I liked the movie. We have Life of Pi by Yann Martel. So this is about, there's a boat crash and the only survivors are a boy named Pi and a tiger, and they're on this boat trying to survive together. There's also an orangutan, a hyena and a zebra. I don't really remember the movie. I was quite young when I watched it. I'm not even sure if I finished the movie, but I have seen some of the movie, so I'm sure it still counts. So the next one is Every Day by David Leatherfan. This is about a person who wakes up in a different body every single day, and one day they fall in love with a girl. I've seen the movie, very interesting. I did quite like the movie. We also have It by Stephen King, which I've seen the first movie. I haven't seen the second movie because the gay one dies, so it's really sad. And that's not what I want to read about, or no, watch about, because it doesn't actually happen. There aren't any gays in the book, but there are gays in the movie, and they die, so I don't know which is worse. Anyway, it's just not happening, is it? It's just not happening. I'm not even sure it'll ever happen. And I have Room by Emma Donoghue. This is about a girl who is kidnapped and kept in a room for multiple years, and she has a baby in that room. I've seen the movie. It's a terrible story. Like, it's like, not thematically it's not terrible, like it's not written terribly, it's really upsetting. It's a really upsetting story, and I'm not really sure if I have the emotional energy, if I'm going to be reading all these books, to be triggered quite that hard. So I don't think I want to read that one. But it is one of the books that I have that inspired a movie that I've already seen. Number 4 is Read the First Book That You Touch. So with this one, I'm obviously just going to be and then touching it, and I'm going to do that on the day. Number 5 is Read a Book Completely Outside of Your House, which I mean, yeah, that'll probably be quite easy. If the weather's nice, it'll be alright to read outside of my house. But I'll just sit in the garden, like I'm not gonna go out because there's a pandemic going on. Number 6 is read a book in a genre that you've always wanted to read more of. And for me, this is sci-fi. I've chosen sci-fi because I am doing a physics degree. That's the light spectrum. I'm doing a physics degree. Physics. I feel like I should read more sci-fi. All of my friends are really into sci-fi and I'm just not into sci-fi. Like at all. But Illuminate. So if I read Illuminate as part of this challenge, the read more sci-fi challenge, then I can read Gemina as part of the birthstone challenge. I really don't have many books that are sci-fi because I don't really read it. But I do have Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, the book that started it all, the creator of sci-fi, our beautiful goth queen, Mary Shelley. I've never read any of her books. I just like her reputation that she has. I also have What the Hell Did I Just Read by David Wong. This is supposed to be scary sci-fi. It just says this is the book that they don't want you to read. It's about these team of people who are investigating an interdimensional shape-shifting child predator, and then it turns out to be more complicated than they'd assumed, which does seem interesting, but it's very nerdy, and I'm doing a physics degree. I just don't need more of that in my life. But I do want to read more sci-fi so that I feel like I fit in. It's very much a case of peer pressure. Maybe I can enjoy this. Maybe I can be cool like all of my other friends who do physics. The next one is read a book that takes place on a different continent than where you live. To be honest, I could read a lot of these books as part of that because these books are set. Most of my books that I own are set in America because I am a very Americanized English individual. But I also have for another continent, most of these are set in America, but for one that is set in a continent that isn't America, I thought A Brighter Fear. This is set in Baghdad in 2003. I got this book many years ago when I was a guide. They were giving out free books and this is the one that I got. I didn't read it because war scared me as a child, and it still scares me, but maybe I could read it now. This is literally the only book that I could find that wasn't set in some dystopian future or in another planet or in America or England. So this is the one we're reading. Possibly, maybe, hopefully I'll get around to reading A Brighter Fear. The other YouTube challenges are to film a vlog of one day of you reading or the whole week. I feel like a vlog of one day of me reading isn't going to be that interesting, so I'll just do the whole week because then it will be like all the different books that I read rather than just me reading one book in. And there's also a rushing to read tag that I assume you do at the end of the... I don't know. I've not done this before. In fact, I have watched videos of people doing this, but I don't pay that much attention. There's a tag that I will be doing possibly if I get round to it, which I might not, so. Bye.